production cars to low-slung, sleek open wheelers. We've got it all covered here at round 3 of the Cabs New South Wales State Championships at Wakefield Park. It's trophy race time for the Australian Formula 4 Championship, third round of their championship. So far, the news this weekend is that it's been Hunter McElrea in the Exim Sonic Miguel, who's had pole position and 2 race victories. He'll start on pole position for the final race. His Sonic Motor Racing Services teammate Hamish Ribberets will line up in second position on the grid. McElrea leads the championship by 11 points after this morning's race, but Ribberets keeping the pressure on by virtue of consistency. He's finished every single race this season inside the top 3 positions, so banking very, very healthy points haul with those consistent performances. Bart Horston, the West Australian, lines up in third position on the grid. Then it's Lachlan Maneef out of 4th position in the CHE Racing Miguel. Position number 5 on the grid, it's Courtney Prince. Then we go back to Cameron Shields out of 6th position. Angelo Mazuris in 7th. Nathan Hearn, Callum Hedge and Zach Sousa making up your top 10. And then it's Jake Donaldson ahead of Liam McClellan, Cody Bircher, Jackson Burton, Ben Dahlia in position 15. Connor Nicholson in 16th position, back then to Harrison Goodman. And the first of our Kent runners, Will Marshall, in his Reynard Formula 4, which is actually a historic car, so it runs slightly different specs compared to the other Kent class cars in the field, but still a very good effort nevertheless from Will Marshall. Nicholas Padgen out of 19th position, had a couple of spins in that race. Finn Allen, another driver, caught up in a bit of drama, and Paul Ziddy in 21st position. Then we go back to the remaining Kent class runners, Charlie Campbell, Shane Bomer, Rob Rowe, Jeff Senior and Dave Wood. And then the non-finishers as well, Tom Sargent, who suffered broken suspension after a bit of a contretemps with Finn Allen in race number 2. Dan Holohan was a non-finisher in the earlier race as well. And then the 2 Kent class DNFs were Jason Liddell and Joshua Glynn. They will round out our field. Unfortunately, it looks like Adrian Lazaro will be a non-starter in this one after what's just been a miserable weekend for the Melbourne-based privateer.
Wouldn't you, Lockie? And certainly he's had his dramas. Even got a discretionary couple laps in this morning, and looked like they may have rectified the problems they had over the course of the weekend, but it wasn't to be. Big field of Formula Fords for this, the third round of the National Series. And that's been the trademark of Formula Fords throughout this season, last season, when they lost their...
In fact, Lazaro will start. He has made the grid, so they're going to have another crack at it. Be good just to see him get up into the top 15 to salvage some points out of the weekend, but he'll start right at the back. Turning our attention to the front, though, and we are in the hands of the starters. Lights out and away we go. Beautiful start for Hunter McElrea off pole position. He's going to be well clear of Hamish Ribberets by the time they get to turn 1. It was an excellent reaction time and an excellent launch for McElrea. And he's left
4th. He's made a great start as well.
But McElrea leaving the rest of the field for dead there. And yes, you're right. So Cameron Shields has jumped ahead of Lachlan Maneef off the start. Liam McClellan in the yellow car in our live stream shot, slotting in ahead of Zach Sousa. So Liam McClellan getting a pretty decent start as well, making up a couple of positions on this opening lap. There's Angelo Mazuris. He's just ahead of Jake Donaldson and just behind Nathan Hearn, who's putting some pressure on Courtney Prince as they exit the fishhook. And we've got a car off at the fishhook. That's Connor Nicholson, who's rotated and ends up in the dust on the right-hand side of the circuit.
Hopefully he can get that going quickly and get back underway. Though he's a couple of these, sometimes you stall these cars, you can't get them going. And has that got damage to the right rear wheel?
And Connor Nicholson's out, and with that car in that position, that will almost certainly create a safety car situation.
Not out yet as Shields attacks the back of Horston going up the hill. Doesn't quite pull it off, but we will have a safety car for sure. Double yellows down there at the moment, and there is a safety car now being called. So I've got a feeling that car's got damage to that right rear wheel, so there might have been someone else involved in that one. And as we can see, this is the scary part. Who knows whether they've seen a safety car?
Oh, no. Oh, there's been a bit of untidy stuff happening there at the Fishhook. Liam McClellan's got involved in it, and there's still Nick Padgen's just run up the back of Zach Suter. There's cars going left and right taking evasive action. That was a few drivers were reacting very late to the fact that the safety car had been called. Young drivers, inexperienced in a couple of situations there, and I'm not going to cast any aspersions about who did what to who, but some drivers should have been paying a bit more attention to the fact that there was a safety car.
Yeah, it's probably fair to point out that they're not using the light system this weekend, which may have...
Lights are out on the safety car, so getting ready for a restart. There'll be 10 laps remaining when we go racing once again.
Hunter McElroy will control the start of this one. So he brings it around through turn 10 and wait till they get the green flag. You can still see in the distance the yellow flag's been shown. That'll be replaced with a green, and they will be underway for the remainder of this race. Green flag waved and McElroy leads them across the line.
A few drivers leaving big gaps to the cars in front of that restart. Liam McClellan had left a good couple of car lengths between himself and the car in front. Not enough to get penalised, but probably a bit frustrating for some of the drivers behind. It would have been nice and close, but in saying that, Hunter McElroy did hold the field up and only accelerated once he'd reached the start-finish line. But McElroy's been brought back to his teammate Hamish Ribberets, who's right on the gearbox of the number 2 car. The car that won the championship in 2016 in the hands of Leanne Tander. We've now got these two Sonic Motor Racing teammates battling up the front of the field for the lead, and Bart Horston maintaining and watching brief in a third and down the inside. Up the inside he goes, makes the move through on Hamish Ribberets, elevates the fast lane racing stealth up into second position and immediately moves across to the inside because Ribberet's got a better run out of the corner, and Cameron Shields is buying into this battle as well. So it becomes a three-way contest for second position and a competition to see who can break the latest into turn 2, which will be Bart Horston. So he holds down second position, and Ribberets gets relegated back to third spot. Then it's Cameron Shields. Locking beneath, still in there as well, just ahead of Courtney Prince.
Been a good comeback from Shields, who didn't qualify that well, but in each race so far has managed to move forward. Currently in 4th position as we see a change behind him.
Courtney Prince getting the move done on Lachlan beneath, so Courtney Prince up inside the top 5. And we've got more dramas at the Fishhook, and again it involves Nicholas Padgen in the Liztech. The nose cone now almost completely off that car, and Nicholas Padgen's going to pull completely off the circuit, and his day is done.
Beneath going further back to field. I think I've seen Nathan Hearn trying to get past him at turn 10. He does so. So Prince is into 5th, Hearn 6th, Beneath in 7th, and more dramas.
Liam
McClellan again.
And Jake Donaldson coming together, both of them running off the road at turn number 2. Liam McClellan's been in the thick of the action this weekend. He'll have to keep his foot buried, but he's not going to make it through the gravel trap. He will be bogged in the sand at turn 2. And that incident, combined with the fact that we've got Nicholas Padgen's car stopped at the Fishhook, could, yes, we're going to see another safety car intervention.
Hasn't had a very good run this weekend. Twice off the road in race 1. Made up some ground in race 2, and unfortunately it's ended with a visit to the bunker at turn 2, and more dramas for the number 58. That car's certainly been in the wars. Nick Padgen in the Liztech.
James Courtney certainly was involved in a mentoring
replay
role
here
last year.
coming up. We can see a bit of it. Yeah, unfortunately for car 35 there,
Jake Donaldson,
couldn't to be caught up in that. He was just the innocent victim, really. He just got carted wide, but fortunately got himself through the sand trap and out the other side. But McClellan wasn't so lucky. As much as he tried to keep the power going, it was just going deeper into the sand. And it's a weekend he'd rather forget at Wakefield Park this weekend. Here again, another look at it. Yeah, McClellan just got up on the ribble strip, ran a bit wide, and Donaldson just tried to get out of it, but he was also going to run wide, or else he was going to have contact.
Donaldson was pretty late under brakes as well, wasn't he?
Indeed, yeah.
So Hunter McElrea currently leads the championship, as I mentioned, at the top of this race call by 11 points. With positions as they are at the moment, he'll extend it out to 17 points over his teammate Hamish Ribberets. If he can hold on for the race win in this race, he'll also become the most successful driver in National Formula Ford here at Wakefield Park, with 4 race victories, moving ahead of Cameron Hill, who he's currently tied with on 3 race wins each.
So overall in the series, with 9 races, when this one's finished, McElrea have won 7 of them.
But again, Hamish Ribberets is keeping himself in the game by continually finishing in the top 3.
And he won the other 2.
Correct, yep. The checkered flag's out, so we've had a declaration. So there you go. Hunter McElrea is your round winner of round number 3 of the Australian Formula Ford Championship here at Wakefield Park. So everything that I just talked about now becomes official. Hunter McElrea, the 2-time round winner, the most successful driver here at Wakefield Park, the championship leader by 17 points. Bart Horston gets 2nd overall for the weekend. A sensational performance for the West Australian driver. By far his best weekend in Formula Ford for the Fast Lane Racing team. Hamish Ribberets finishes up 3rd in the race and 3rd overall for the weekend.